Ladies and gentlemen, Anita Sarkeesian is at it again. This is my live response. I can't use the video footage or I'll get a copyright strike from ABC. So, let's do this.
Violent depictions of women being beaten, raped, and run over by cars.
Alright, let's just stop right there. Violent depictions of women being raped. Okay, first of all, I'd love to see where women are being raped in video games. This just goes to show your sensationalized bullshit within language, ABC, already with this dramatic, exaggerated start of a video, where women are being beaten, being raped.
It's not the movies, it's video games. And now the women...
Yes, video games, because video games, ladies and gentlemen, are the first world problems as you and me know it. Let's continue.
Calling for change in this multi-billion-dollar virtual industry are facing a very real backlash, including death threats.
Oh my God! Someone made a death threat on the internet. Whew, guys, we gotta get ready. It's gonna be some tough stuff.
Here's my Nightline co-anchor, Juju Chang.
For Anita Sarkeesian, this is the new normal. Armed escorts at public events, tracking her every move.
I'm constantly aware of the fact that there's an enormous amount of hate directed towards me.
Hate in the form of bomb threats, rape threats, even death threats. On this morning, high alert at Loyola University in Chicago. It's Anita's first speaking engagement since threats of a shooting massacre forced her to cancel her last appearance.
Of course, ABC Nightline completely ignores the fact that when that a threat was initially made that she was going to speak at and someone was going to shoot up a school and kill everybody because she was speaking, law enforcement even made a statement. The school made a statement out saying that the threats that were made were empty, that they weren't to be taken serious, and yet Anita still canceled her speech and now uses that as a way to fuel her feministic agenda to show that video games or Gamergate is the cause of brutal threats and violence. When law enforcement and people within the school who were working at the school said that it was an empty threat and it's okay to continue with your speech. But no, she backs down, like the coward that Anita Sarkeesian really is.
All because this media critic dared to criticize something millions of us play every day.
My question is this: what is criticism genuinely? Yes, I can say that Anita has made some interesting points and made me think differently about how women are portrayed in video games. I can give her that. But when you start to say that video games promote real-life violence and that real-life violence is somehow linked to kids committing real-life violence, there's no sources to back these statements up. When you start saying that video games promote misogyny against women, misogyny and is blatant sexist towards women, criticism to me no longer is criticism, but absolute insanity, which is what this woman is in regards to her criticisms of video games. In fact, I don't even really care the fact that she mentions that video games are misogynistic, but rather she always seems to link in her boyfriend Macintosh, Mr. Pancake Man, always seem to link, and he says this on his Twitter all the time. People respond to him on his Twitter, and he just blocks people. That video games does not cause violence in children. But no, video games do cause violence in children, and she does nothing to back up these her statements. That's why she's insane. She says these unfounded things, and people just automatically believe her.
Who plays video games?
Video games. The threats making splashy headlines around the world. On shows like Melissa Harris Perry.
The threat of violence?
All too real. And webcasts like Democracy Now! And HuffPost Live.
Violent threats for pointing out sexism in video games.
Things got heated, to say the least.
The harassment became part of what's now known as Gamergate.
Well, we all know that that's not true. Gamergate.
What started as an online spat about the ethics of gaming journalism quickly escalated into a full-blown culture war.
Women shouldn't be mere disposable objects or symbolic pawns in stories about men.
And a small but hardcore group of gamers resisted to change.
God ordained that it is one man, one joystick.
But Gamergate doesn't just affect
so
boys
funny.
playing in a basement. The stakes are much higher than you might think. We're now spending more money on games than movies and music combined, to the tune of $21 billion. And what might surprise you, there are now more adult women playing video games than there are teenage boys.
And that, if that statistic is true, that there are more adult women playing video games than young boys, that is awesome! That is freaking awesome that more women are playing video games. I welcome that. Gamergate welcomes that. We have nothing wrong with women playing video games. But let's continue.
We're talking about fantastical scenarios like the ones in BioShock, and epic adventures in games like Mirror's Edge. What is it exactly that's so disturbing in some video games that's making women like Anita willing to face death threats?
Oh my god, she's facing death threats. First world problems. Oh my god, like she's never, like a death threat is the worst possible thing that could happen to me. See, they later say this in this video is that she gets anonymous death threats. They're anonymous for a goddamn reason. People say things online that they would never say in reality. They type behind a keyboard. They're behind a fake facade. They use fake screen names. They quote anonymous threats, which is what they are, anonymous threats. How can this woman doesn't seem to be able to distinguish between real people who actually want to harm and threaten her and do terrible things, and between online trolls who make the same types of threats. Now, I'm not saying that these online trolls who make these threats are okay. It's wrong. I condemn it. Any type of threatening thing, whether it be wishing that you want to rape somebody or murder somebody, whether it's a troll or not, I believe that is wrong. And I believe that the majority, if not all of Gamergate, really believes that. And sure, are there bad apples? Of course there are. There are always going to be these people who say disgusting things and then get associated with something else. For example, religion's a great example of that.
Just when you think you hit the worst example or the most misogynist example, you find another one.
Escapism is big business. More than half of us are already playing games like this one, Grand Theft Auto 5. But critics say in these virtual worlds, things often take a turn toward the dark side. As a player, you can solicit a prostitute, kill her, and if that's not enough, you have the option to run her over.
Oh, great. Showing Grand Theft Auto, something that you can do to everyone in the world of Grand Theft Auto. This proves nothing, and this is what pisses me off more than anything about this video, is you're choosing, they later show Watch Dogs, and they show, well, you can kill a woman in Watch Dogs, and then you have to hunt down the guy who killed the woman. When in reality, everything that happens in this game is randomized. Things that happen in Grand Theft Auto is randomized. In GTA Online, you can play as a woman, lesbian, and have a kill and slaughter and run over another female prostitute. You can play as a woman who kills another woman. You can play as a man who kills a woman who's a prostitute. There's even male strip clubs in GTA. The things that you can do in Grand Theft Auto, you can do equally around the world of Grand Theft Auto. The genders and roles can be completely, utterly reversed. You can hire a prostitute in GTA Online and be a female and grab a woman and make her give you a blowjob, if that's even technically possible. What exactly is your response to these games that you're trying to just nitpick at and say, oh, you can slaughter a prostitute after you solicitate sex from her, when you can do the same thing when the gender roles are reversed in the game?
The sense of violence against women being used as almost background decoration, right? As texture to make an environment gritty, more real.
There are plenty of games that aren't violent or sexualized, but some of the best-selling games are especially egregious. On her website, Anita dissects these games.
Developers regularly utilize the brutalization of women's bodies, and especially the bodies of female prostitutes.
Her goal? To bring attention to what she calls the inherent misogyny in the gaming world.
I'll teach you.
In Watch Dogs, she points out how women are murdered to give the hero a reason to chase down a bad guy.
And the problem with this, as I just mentioned earlier, is this is a completely randomized. A man can slit a man's throat, and you can do the exact same thing where you hunt down the man who slit the man's throat. It is not designated to specifically and only females. Invalid. Does not follow through.
It gets worse and worse. It reinforces this idea of women as sexual objects. Amusement.
And it's this kind of talk that makes her a target.
And that's when the cyber mob, right, the hate mob descended.
Bombarding her with mostly anonymous tweets and messages. I will rape you when I get the chance.
Notice that the news person said anonymous messages.
Hiding behind usernames and claims of free speech. I'm sitting outside your apartment with a loaded gun. Your neighbors won't hear you screaming in pain. Someone even created...
And I know for a fact that the majority of people who are involved in Gamergate, including myself, I'm not a huge speaker on it or anything like that, but I support Gamergate, is that we do not support these types of comments. You can. It's the same thing with labeling. Someone tweeted me the other day that it's like letting someone from Atheism Plus speak for everybody who's an atheist, or some Muslims speak for some radical Muslims speak for all of Islam. And now you have these quote-unquote bad apples who send rape threats or then quote themselves as being part of Gamergate, and then people say, well, Gamergate is all about sending death threats. We do not support this type of behavior. I don't support this type of behavior, anonymous or not.
A grotesque game where players can beat and punch a picture of her face.
Oh, like that hasn't already been done before? Now, I'm not saying that's okay. I'm saying I don't fucking care that you have a little app game where you punch Anita Sarkeesian in the face. It's no different than all the different celebrity games where you take other female and male celebrities and punch them in the face. There was a thing of, what was the rapper who punched his girlfriend? I can't even think of his name. There was an app they created where you could punch a black guy in the face and bruise him, the rapper dude, whatever his name is, I don't remember. How is that any different than Anita being punched in the face and having her bruised? If she's a celebrity figure, so naturally people are going to do things to profit or make stupid applications where you can punch a celebrity in the face. That's part of being a famous online persona or celebrity.
But the virtual harassment turned very real when her online attackers published her social security number.
That is fucked up. I don't know anyone in Gamergate or anyone who watches me who would think that's okay to post someone's social security number. That's a criminal act. That's wrong, illegal, and they should be held accountable of the law for doing that sort of shit. That is, I can't condemn that enough.
Her home address, and she's not the only one.
Oh boy.
They told me they were coming to kill me. They told me specifically they were going to castrate my husband.
Women like Brianna Wu, an independent game developer, was even driven out of her home, all for simply tweeting her opinion.
This was false. This has been refuted. This has been shown with the countless documents, screenshots and things. This woman, Brianna Wu, and I'm not going to get into much, she did this herself. In fact, she didn't even leave her home because of the threats to begin with. She was at some convention or something during the time telling people to come visit her booth. This woman planned and sent things to herself, her own threats to herself. I kid you not. There's a video link down below. You can look for it, watch it for yourself, which proves this. ABC Nightline completely ignores that, and Brianna Wu is a real victim when she sends her own threats to her goddamn self.
When someone posts your address online and they tell you they're going to murder your whole family, you don't really feel safe staying at that location.
No shit! You don't feel safe staying at the location. Let me tell you a story. 2.5 years ago, I had photos taken of my parents' house. These photos were linked to me, sent to me, along with a photo of every single one of my family members. They posted my address where I used to live with my parents, and they gave threats saying they want to rape my family, they want to kill my family. They even had pictures of my 2-year-old nephew, which I thought was insane and scary. Did it scare me? Yes. Did I stop making videos even though they had my address on the phone with their on their page with all my parents' phone numbers? No. I did not cower down like you people do. Someone makes a threat to you, you run away, you cower. Oh my God, I'm a victim of someone threatening me online. Grow some fucking. Oh my fucking God. It amazes me. And when I found that person who posted all that information about me and doxed me and gave out photos of my family and information about them, what did I do? I continued to make videos. I didn't cower down like a little baby. I don't say that very often, but I didn't cower down like a baby. I privately dealt with the issue. I sent an email to the police. I contacted the police and I gave them the information, and that was that. Nothing ever came of it. No threat, nothing was ever done in harm to me or my family. I'm so sick of people like Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Root, women who honestly cower when anyone attempts to criticize them on anything, who run away when anything is said to them, which could be anonymous threat. They're like a dog that when the moment you raise the tone of your voice, whether it's aggressive or not, the dog's tail goes between its legs and runs in a corner. That's Anita Sarkeesian. That's Brianna Rue.
So far, the Gamergate harassment against Brianna and other women like her has remained online. But the FBI is taking it seriously enough that it started a file.
I'm so hesitant to use the phrase terror because I think it's such a politically loaded word, but it's terrorism on women in this industry. It's scaring every single one of us.
Why such hate? Why such anger?
I think a lot of it comes from this idea that gaming is a male-dominated space, right? And that games are for men, by men.
This is something that I actually rarely see, and I'd love to see your citation source for this, Anita Sarkeesian. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because it does, but very few men in my gaming interactions with my girlfriend, and as a whole, do I think... I want women need to be in the gaming space. There's nothing wrong. I don't condemn women to be in the gaming space. Gamergate doesn't condemn women for being in the gaming space. We welcome females in the gaming community. We welcome them. We welcome them. But it's these select few people who I have seen online before, men who like play Call of Duty and who throw the word faggot at me all of the time when I speak on microphone. Same type of men who say gross things like, oh, you have a sexy voice, you want to suck my dick? And of course, I don't support that type of behavior in regards to women in video games, but you can't take the small minority and blow it up into proportion by saying this is how all gamers or male gamers are.
It's a very misogynist backlash. We are not meant to be treated with respect.
Something even the casual female gamer is sadly familiar with. Watch what happens when the men in this online session of Counter-Strike learn that there's a woman playing in their midst.
Are you an archaeologist? Because I have a big bone. She's examining Mrs. Pretty Lady. If I subscribe, would you give me a big kiss?
It's less brutal than what Anita and Brianna experienced, but it does show the ease with which offensive behavior is tossed out at women.
Oh boy, offensive behavior. Yes, that behavior that guy displayed, oh, Mr. Archaeologist lady, I have a big boner that needs examining. That's gross. That doesn't need to be said, of course not. There are gonna be those assholes in video games like that who are, in fact, probably sexist and who don't think women have any place in video games. I don't believe that, and the majority, and I think I can speak for a large portion of gamers, don't believe that type of behavior is okay. You also can't generalize by saying all gamers think and act like this when a woman is in lobby. And let's completely ignore the fact that in Counter-Strike Source and many other online games in which you are talking to people, you click one button and you can mute them. I mute people all the time in almost every single game that I play, whether it be Dota or Counter-Strike. I mute people constantly, simply because I don't want to hear them talk, I don't want to hear them be stupid, I don't want to hear them scream in the mic, I don't want to hear stupid profanities and stupid, hey, you're a faggot, you're a faggot. I don't still want to hear it. A woman can do the exact same thing. Press the mute button. It's like you act as if she has to endure guys talking to her like this when she in fact doesn't. All she has to do is press a mute button. It's not that hard.
I'll give you my skins for some skin if you know what I mean, huh, sexy lady, huh?
I'm really just here to play, like everybody else.
But she's not treated like everyone else, which is at the heart of Gamergate.
The heart of Gamergate? No. You're fucking stupid if that's what you really actually think. The heart of Gamergate is about saying sexually aggressive and overtones to women in video games. Fuck off, ABC Nightline.
Media critics argue women like Stephanie need to stop being abused as players in the real world.
Is it really abuse when you can control everything in that match? That you can press a button and mute every single person, which is something I commonly do, just because I don't want to hear what people have to say? Do the same goddamn thing. I don't consider it abuse in the real sense of being physically abused in a verbal sense when you have the power to stop it.
And as avatars in the virtual world. And given that women make up nearly half of this country's gamers, this isn't a feminist issue, it's just smart business.
The demographics should be a huge wake-up call to executives of gaming companies because there is a huge amount of money to be made out of taking women seriously. and out of demonstrating to women that you are taking them seriously.
We've reached out for comment multiple times to Rockstar Games, Ubisoft, the companies behind these games, to ask about the way women are portrayed. But thus far, we've received no reply.
And good on Rockstar and good on Ubisoft for not actually replying to your dumbasses. And I say that because women are not portrayed in any other way, just as men are portrayed in Watch Dogs. It's treated no differently. As I mentioned earlier, randomized revenge of you having someone gets killed and you have to hunt them down or kill them. It's no fucking different. So why is Ubisoft, and Rockstar gonna reply to your dumb asses when all you can say is how women are portrayed, when you completely ignore how men are portrayed the exact same way, and you can do the exact same choices and exact same killings or slaughterings that you can do as a man or a woman?
Sat down and tried to play the game with your daughter and tried to find games where she can play a character that she identifies with, you start to feel bad about not putting that option in your own games.
Even Lara Croft, the famous Tomb Raider, got a makeover. More clothes, less curves.
I remember playing Tomb Raider Guardian of the Light, and it was produced by a woman, and it was like a really good game. The game did well, so we're going to see more of that.
The majority of gamers, like Chris Scott, manager of 8-Bit and Up, condemn Gamergate's threats of violence.
Which one is he? Which one is he?
But he's not alone in believing critics like Anita exaggerate the problem.
At least, see, this is the best part of this video. This is truth. She does exaggerate the problem.
Trying to capitalize on controversy.
He also says the gaming world on the whole shouldn't be judged by a few extreme examples.
Exactly, which is what Anita Sarkeesian does for every goddamn motherfucking single video game possible person who you can possibly imagine on the internet. Every anonymous troll is associated with us. Someone says a rape threat to her, oh, that guy must be a video gamer. He must be a supporter of Gamergate. He must be hateful towards women.
People complain about games like Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, or whatever. It's similar to complaining about hip-hop and rap music today, saying, well, it's violent. That's not what hip-hop is about. You can't judge gaming by what's selling. You have to really get into the medium to understand it before you start saying, well, this is what gaming is about.
Exactly. This man speaks truth. And this is actually, I think, is a great way to how to end this video. And
Scott suggests, at the end of the day, they're just games.
I know in the real world there are strong women that don't need to be saved.
How do you respond to critics who say, well, this is fantasy, this is not reality, you have to lighten up?
Yeah, that's a fun argument. Games have a huge impact on our society, so fantasy, it actually works through
reality, you have to lighten up.
Yeah, that's a fun argument. Games have a huge impact on our society, so it's not just fantasy. It actually works to potentially reinforce some pretty harmful messages about women.
okay, video games takes a large role in our society. Where is the citation for this statement? How exactly, video games is a form of entertainment. I don't see it as something that's changing society. How are video games changing society and humanity as we know it? Besides video games advancing with technology and stuff. Overall, this video is linked down below. ABC, you're a load of shit. You did poor research. You said condemning statements which don't even follow in line with what the games are even fucking about. You completely, I don't want to say the word narrow-minded, but you completely look at games on a one-sided issue, and you look at a woman getting killed in this as violence against women. In reality, it's the situations are, randomized. I don't need to repeat myself a third or fourth time. It's shocking to me that ABC, actually, no, it's not shocking to me, considering it's news media, but it's just so infuriating that women like Anita Sarkeesian get on Nightline and tries to make games like Watch Dogs out to be some misogynistic shit, when in reality, it's not. Pisses me the fuck off. Video's linked down below, and surprisingly enough, comments are actually available to comment on. First video, I think, of Anita Sarkeesian that I've ever seen on YouTube that you can actually comment on, since comments are not disabled. By all means, check it out.